Greetings everyone. I wanted to create a video for you to be able to review the concepts and requirements of your upcoming timed writing. So let's look at this presentation that I created, which is writing the AP essay argument, and almost all of this should be review because what is in this presentation is essentially a refresher on what it takes to write a good argumentative piece. So as you can see, one of the three timed writings on the AP exam is the argumentative essay. You've already written an argumentative essay, so you should be familiar with the requirements for creating a solid argument. If you wish to pause to review the format that I've given right here, you can. But just know that this format is a recommendation. This is not a requirement. If I were to give someone a template to follow, this is what I would do, but it would be for those who need a template. You've been writing essays since probably 5th or 6th grade, so you know what makes a good introduction. You know what makes for a good essay. This is just tailoring that for argument. So your introduction, you're looking at about 4 or 5 sentences. You're establishing the premise of your essay. It's often helpful to start with a hook sentence that grabs the reader's attention, and then transition statements that more or less create a road to the thesis. You can offer background information. You can directly reference the prompt if the prompt contains a quote or some sort of widely held idea. And then I think the most important part of this, your thesis statement. It must be a defensible claim. Merely restating the prompt is not enough. You must make your defense, your challenge, or your qualification obvious. So being a defensible claim means that your evidence and commentary are going to back up your thesis statement. Now on the AP essay, as we'll take a look at the rubric, and you'll notice that the thesis doesn't have to appear in the introduction. I need it to appear in the introduction. I need to know the direction the paper is going. That's just good writing. Again, if you have it in the conclusion, you know, an AP essay, you won't lose the potential thesis point for that, but it's again, I fall back on saying that it's not good writing. You know, you want to have your thesis in the introduction so the reader who's already invested a little bit of time knows where the paper is headed. Also, too, you'll notice it says you must make a defense, challenge, or qualification. To qualify something is another part of argument. So to defend a claim means that essentially you're supporting it. To challenge a claim means you don't agree with it. But to qualify is to say that a claim is true in some cases, but not true in others. Yesterday in class, we were using an example of a claim that school time should be extended. I personally don't agree with this, but I think it would be a claim that would get people developing a position on it pretty quickly. And one student had a qualification. She says, okay, school time should be extended, but only if homework is eliminated, to where schools don't do homework at all. And that would be a qualification. You're qualifying the claim. You're saying yes in some cases, no in others, or you're offering a variation on the claim itself, to where it's not just a simple yes or no. Okay? If you want to pause and take a look at this, feel free to do so, but this is a recommended support paragraph format, and open with a lesser claim. Now, if you have a transition statement to where you can transition easily, you can do it there, but a transition statement and then a lesser claim, evidence that supports the lesser claim, and refer to your writer's notebook for leash for what counts as evidence. And then you have your analysis, which explains and clarifies the evidence. Commentary is going to connect the evidence to the lesser claim, and then your next commentary statement can connect the lesser claim to the thesis. This is essentially when they say develop a line of reasoning. That's what it means, is that every point you're making beyond the evidence is pointing back to that you're just offering more support. You're connecting the dots of your evidence and analysis to make sure it's all supporting the thesis that you're making. And again, this is a suggestion, not a requirement. The only requirement is that you explain your evidence and you connect it back to your thesis. All right, you can write 3 support paragraphs before concluding and still earn a 6. You can also write a counterclaim, concession, and rebuttal after 2 support paragraphs. So and this says still earn a 6. The AP essays are scored 0 through 6. We'll look at the rubric in just a moment. But you can still earn a 6 without a counterclaim, concession, and rebuttal. However, I highly recommend that you do that because that is an easy way to earn what's called the sophistication point. Your conclusion should answer, so what? If you remember the circles of concern, keep the so what relevant to the outer circles. And for those who are unfamiliar, the circles of concern are, it's a variation, a very liberal variation of Aristotle's circles of influence and circles of concern, to where basically the first circle of concern is self, and then the next one is family, the next are friends, then community, and then nation, humanity. And you always want to, when you answer so what, to keep either community, nation, or humanity in mind. You don't want the so what to be essentially like why you don't like it, or why it affects you. It's not to say that people don't care about you, but at the end, like if you have a reader, you need to show how it would potentially affect them. Well, how does it affect them? By saying that it affects either the community, members of the nation, or humanity in general. Another rule to remember, treat this like a rough draft. It'll be scored with the consideration of pressure, because writing a 5-paragraph essay in 40 minutes is very much a pressure situation. And so your essay will be scored as such. When reading it, grammatical mistakes, misspellings, things like that do not have a bearing on your final score unless it interferes with the meaning of the sentence. And so a misspelling, if you were to misspell Henry David Thoreau's name incorrectly, you're not losing points. You can still get a 6. So keep that in mind. Treat it like a rough draft. Get your ideas out there. You still want it to be the best possible piece, but remember that saying something awkwardly is better than not saying it at all. I know a lot of times people will say, well, I don't want to say it, it's going to sound awkward. Well, put it on the page. You can always, if you have 5 extra minutes, you can go back and draw lines through and rearrange stuff and things like that. Because again, it's treated like a rough draft, and so you can make the changes later too. This doesn't have to be this final perfect piece. So if you have any questions, message me. Now we're going to briefly, after looking at this, if you want to, excuse me, again, if you want to pause and take a break, you can do that. But we're about to take a look at the rubric that you will be judged on. So let's go ahead and go to the AP Rubric website. And as you can see, like I said earlier, free response essays, the third one is the argument. Even though we reverse this, we start with argument first, and then around January we start the rhetorical analysis timed piece. You'll still write a rhetorical analysis between now and then, but it won't be in a timed environment just yet. In the synthesis essay, we finish that out near the end of the year. So I'm going to go all the way down. Here we go, argument essay. So you notice right here, it's 6 points, and the way you earn the 6, it's 3 categories. The first category is the thesis, and this is for 1 point. And this might just be the easiest thing you can get. Notice you get that point. The thesis presents a defensible position. Okay, you are presenting a thesis that can be argued. You're not just restating the prompt. You're not stating something general or obvious. Again, if the claim was about extending school time, the argumentative prompt would be yes, school time should be extended, or no, school time should not be extended, because you could argue either way. That's what it means to create a defensible position, is that you're going to be providing evidence and commentary to back it up. Notice what a 0 earns, and I'm not going to go over all of these, but you can look at these. I think the big ones is just no defensible thesis, or it just restates the prompt. Also, it provides a summary of the issue without a claim. You're summarizing. I say in English 4 that the road to hell is paved with summary, and that's the quickest way to get a low score, is to not offer analysis or offer evidence and commentary, that you're just summarizing the position or the claim or whatever it may be. Okay, this is where you get the most number of points, and this is 0 to 4. This is for the evidence and the commentary. Again, 0 points if you just restate the thesis, if it's present, or you repeat provided information, or you offer information irrelevant to the prompt. You get 1 point if you provide evidence and commentary, or where the evidence is mostly general. By general evidence, if we go back to the prompt of school should be extended, the general idea would be just, well, kids don't like school already, and so extending it would be bad. That's technically logical reasoning, but it's very weak and it's very general. And then your commentary, it just summarizes the evidence, but it does not explain how the evidence supports the argument. Now, a few moments ago, when I talked about commentary and I said that, well, you need to explain the evidence, that's why you have 3 analysis and commentary statements. One can explain the evidence, and then the rest explains how it supports the commentary, how it supports the evidence. 2 points, you get, this is about middle of the road. This provides some specific relevant evidence, and then it explains how some of the evidence relates to the argument. But no line of reasoning is established, or the line of reasoning is faulty. You're not connecting the dots between the evidence, or the lesser claim in the evidence, and then the evidence and the analysis, and then you're not connecting the dots between the lesser claim and the thesis statement. So, getting to 3, you provide specific evidence that supports all claims in a line of reasoning, and then explains how some of the evidence supports it. And so, with that being said, you can figure out what 4 points gives you. You provide specific evidence to support every claim in a line of reasoning in your essay, and your commentary consistently explains how the evidence supports a line of reasoning. If you want to pause and read over these, you can, but typical responses that earn 4, as you can see, it uniformly offers evidence to support the claims, focuses on the importance of specific details to build an argument, and that's what you want to do. You don't want general evidence being provided. You want specific evidence. So instead of something like kids already don't like school and extending the time would just make it worse, you would probably say something to you may want to use a personal anecdote to support what you're trying to say, where you can say, well, I'm a student and I go to 7 class periods, I'm in school 8 hours a day, I have 4 hours of homework, this results in me being very tired, and if I'm tired I can't function well, and you keep going from there. That's a lot more specific than just saying kids don't like school. Finally, sophistication. To get the sophistication point, it demonstrates sophistication of thought and or complex understanding of the rhetorical situation. You may remember the rhetorical situation is audience, purpose, and exigence. And so for you have a rhetorical situation writing this essay. Your audience is the AP reader, or as I like to tell people, the academic skeptic, someone who is intelligent but that is skeptical of your claim and you need to prove your point. The exigence is the prompt. The demand of the situation is the prompt itself, and then your purpose is to argue your position. So with that being said, I will close out, and if you have any questions, just shoot me a message. I know this is really quick, but Screencast-O-Matic does a 15-minute limit, and we're almost at the end of time. So thank you very much. Take care.